I've got so much to say today that I'm really just gonna keep it short and snappy. Fulfillment! The totality of you is a spherical identity. The fact that you perceive yourself as a body form, it's just the outcome of your DNA template has the potential, the 12-strand or higher potential, to experience itself as a whole and complete, fulfilled being, spherical identity. And some of your receivers, some of your genes, your apartheid, are switched on or off, and they determine your sense of self, your sense of body, your sense of identity. So parts of you are turned off, part of your gene sequences are turned off, and that's why you are experiencing yourself as a body form. So the D12 frequencies, the frequencies of fulfillment, of a peace and ease, a gentle softness and smoothness, are opening you up to the consciousness, the awareness, the sentient experience of what it feels like to go home, what it feels like to be whole and complete again. Because you have the potential right now to feel your entire self. It's just the gene sequences, the physical perceived limitations that are telling you that you are this shape, you are this body form. So today we're having Christmas. Boy, it's so ironic. It's such good comedic timing. I managed to time it like just before I leave with all my procrastination and personal breakdowns. I'm just like, last day, yes. So the reversal of fulfillment shows itself as cold-blooded monstrosity in the face of humanity. If you've done the give me a second. If you've done the sexual transmutation course with me, then we went through the victim-victimizer game. I call it a hierarchy game because victim and victimizer are really just two sides of the same coin, and there's a lot of different terminology around the phrase victim, so I'm just like, it's hierarchy. That's the only thing that we're not equal, we're hierarchical. And we went through the 9 stages of that, and the last stage, it's a frequency escalation and an emotional escalation. The very last stage of it is total psychopathy, total sociopathy, because that's the word that I was looking for, total sociopathy. And the reversal of fulfillment has a lot to do with that last stage, where your emotional body is disconnected from your mental body, and your mental body completely overrides your emotional body. So it's like you have a gap in your perception. Your biofield does not sequence emotions the same way as a whole and complete fulfilled being. So you become sociopathic. You don't feel anymore. You feign feelings, but you don't actually feel the impact of your actions. You're not connected to anybody else, to anything else, because you've severed the connection inside your own being. So, Christmas. It was the night before Christmas. No. Christmas is in 3 days. I'm sitting cross-legged in a room with 150 people, in stillness and relative silence. Day 1 of 10. I traveled halfway around the globe because the holidays in London didn't feel so happy chippy at the time. My connecting flight was in Vegas. So during the night I spent at the airport, which I'm going to do tomorrow again, I had the pleasure of hearing 1,000,000 times what Mariah Carey wants for Christmas. Please don't get me started. Ah, baby. We're gonna be sitting for 10 hours a day in blocks of 1 to 2 hours with no external or internal disturbance. In theory. This is the first 90-minute block. I'm supposed to be focusing on a very small area around my nose, observing my breath, no movements, no thoughts. Ah, baby, on fucking loop. I'm in so much pain. Screw this. I'm just gonna let it all out. I sit there in perfect external stillness for 90 straight minutes, while in my head, brutal bloodbath. I mean it. I've had glimpses of this rage in the past, but I never allowed myself to fully play it out. Sitting there, motionless, in my head, I mercilessly screamed at, beat, stabbed, raped, mutilated, and murdered my father, or the version of him in my mind. When a friendly ding signaled the end of our sitting, I rolled up all my pain into a gigantic bowl, covered it with black tar, and set the whole thing on fire. I did not know about black holes back then, but I literally created a black hole for myself. That massive fireball was by my left shoulder, left. I knew what I was doing even before I knew it. It was by my left shoulder for the next 5 days. I kept throwing in all my grievances, physical and psychological aches, oh babies, the suppressed emotions just right into the fire until I had nothing else left. Only then there was silence. So, a lot of people are doing trauma healing by guiding you through the trauma, and they're actually re-traumatizing you. Just now, I had one of the most beautiful, gorgeous conversations. I love you so much. And I just blurted out the phrase, and I'm going to repeat it here just so that it's on record, that there's a choice between whether you are living into your future or running away from your past. If your present moment is guided by your traumas, your fears, your pain, then energetically, you are not living towards your future. You are turned towards your past and feeding that past version of you who has a traumatic imprint that has been unresolved. What time actually is, what organic development should be when we're turning energetically. Your past is an energetic chamber behind you, and a future is an energetic chamber in front of you. When people are like, oh, we're bowing to the 4 directions or whatever, you have 6 directions. It's not just left, right, up, down. It's also future and past. Your energy is traveling from source. Your spirit body is behind you into your future, the event horizon that you're facing physically, geometrically, biochemically. The angle that you're turning towards is energetically determining how you are producing your next moment, your next moment, your next moment. Since the Atlantean period, we've been switched so that we're looking into our past. A lifetime should be a constant accumulation of frequencies, a constant frequency accretion, so that by the time when you've reached the full potential of this human body form, you turn around, you turn towards your spirit body, you gather your spirit body frequencies, you merge with your spirit body, and you meet in the middle at source point. And then you go home. Well, then you pull in the sides of you as well, and then you pull in all versions of you as well, and then you go home. But that's the first step. Now, since the Atlantean period, we've been turned around so that we're looking at our past. So instead of embodying a future version, we're playing out past karmic imprints, versions of you that are not moving you forward, but that are holding you back. And it's just, hello, I'm repeating what we just went through, so you haven't missed anything. And we are angled energetically in a way that we are not gathering more and more of ourselves, but we're leaving parts of us behind. You are the most innocent, the most pure, the most connected to source when you were born. And after that, your body deteriorates until the point when you die. That's not natural. So, the frequencies of fulfillment are bringing in 12-dimensional frequencies. It's been incredible timing, because literally 2 seconds before I started this live, what you could have been hearing in the background was just solid because a precious being right next door decides to turn this house into a club every single night for the past 3 weeks now, completely ignoring his impact, completely ignoring the effect that he might be having on other beings. There will be beings like that out there. There will be beings who are so engrossed and encapsulated and turned inwards that they will not be able to perceive their impact or connect with other beings. And I'm very sensitive to sound and frequency, so when I feel low, things like that the repetitive music, the noise, the constant, like music or certain type of thought patterns or loops or fragments, are a replacement for your genuine thoughts. When you cannot get "oh baby" out of your fucking mind for hours, that's not your genuine thought. That's a hijack of your energy. And just now, when he switched on the music and horrible lyrics, it's like, "I want to be inside you." I bet you fucking do, because there's not much else that's going on inside your mind right now. And when I'm in a state of housing frequencies that are running a reverse sequence, disturbance like that would genuinely make me feel anxious, drained, just caged. I feel like I'm losing all my power, all my senses, all my abilities. I'm at a mercy of my environment, other people, other beings. When I'm generating my own frequencies, when I feel fulfilled, I'm so free that frequency just doesn't find a match. It just doesn't resonate with me anymore. I'm not housing thoughts of I'm just this little being who cannot take care of herself, and she's relying on the kindness of strangers, but strangers are not kind. Or I could just go about it. You know what? This is perfect comedic timing right there. This island is telling me that instead of feeling nostalgic about what you're leaving here and what you might be missing and what you might not be getting in the next place where you're going to, how about if we live into the future version of yourself and say that mission completed on this island, we're going to the next best thing. And it just changes everything immediately. That's what feelings of fulfillment feel like when you're not in a codependent relationship, but you've managed to be whole and complete, not on your own, because you're not alone. You are gathering more and more of yourself. That includes other incarnations, that includes past and future lives, that includes an awareness, a mindfulness, an embodiment of the box that you think you are has just expanded into a full circle. You are a bubble, a spherical burst of energy. That's what fulfillment does to you. It's not that nothing bothers you anymore. It's not that things don't matter anymore. It's quite the opposite. When you are depressed, that's the feeling of apathy. When you just don't care, you don't give. When you are fulfilled, you have so much that you're not losing anything when you're giving, because you're not giving from your individuated self. You are connected to the true source of any creation, any existence, and you are just allowing that energy to be transmitted through you. You are just there as a living embodiment, a living presence of who you actually are, and other people can just bask in the light of that energy if they want to. They want to keep listening to so be it. Doesn't bother me anymore. All right. I love you so much. We just had this conversation today. I had such a just beautiful day. I love people again so much, and it just opened my heart up. It opened everything up again. So I'm gonna take a break. Next week I'm coming back, and we're gonna talk about more specifics around ultimate desire. For me, where ultimate desire came from was just the total disillusionment with everything around me. And I realized that unless I'm connected to one singular desire, I'm going to be pulled into a million pieces. So instead, it's not that I'm a black and white person, but I've always been I just had a little bit more expanded sense of what matters to me, what means anything to me. And I've had issues with eternity before. I said that in the previous one, that I had a panic attack about eternity. But then once I started understanding the mechanics of eternity, I realized that that is the only thing. It's not a thing. That's the only state of existence. That's the only state of being that actually speaks to me. Everything else that's finite, that will never fully excite me. That will never fulfill me. So where the phrase ultimate desire is coming from, it's a set of teachings that had to do with the deity planes. They are the planes of existence that you're going to cross the very first stage of your transition. And if you start bringing in the frequencies of that state, it's like you are physically living into your actual future. It's not an imagined version of you. It's not something that's coming from your egotistic desire. It's not something that you've generated from a body that houses finite light and infinite light at the same time, but it's coming from your genuine future self. And you are being pulled into your future. You are being supported by your future self instead of having to give up your energy towards your past selves. So the whole idea behind Ultimate Desire is that for myself, I've realized that when I align myself with a singular focus, everything else starts to fall into place. Instead of me having to split my focus, split my attention into a million bits and pieces, I'm allowed to concentrate my energy on one thing, and then everything else will come as a feeling sensation, a direct knowing. I will not keep second guessing myself. I have much better boundaries before. I've learned how to say no. I've learned how to take care of myself. I've learned how to generate frequencies. It's not like I'm completely impenetrable because I'm practicing, I'm learning. But I've had the little practice session around it. That was the first time in about a yearish, less than a year, when I had like a really deep, really chemically heavy depressed period when I just could not generate serotonin anymore. And I've handled it like I've never done before. So I see the change. It's incremental when you're watching it as it happens, but when you look back, you're like, I am not the same person that I was a year ago. And that's why I want to keep practicing together, because when we bring frequencies together, we amplify each other, we spark each other. And also it feels good to finally agree on something rather than disagreeing on everything. So, if this speaks to you, see you at Ultimate Desire. Other than that, see you in London. First, I'm going to decorate my place, and then I'm going to start sharing shit. All right. Love you so much.